my experience working like for the financial institution was really good because that allowed us to operate almost as our own marketing agency while I worked there. We weren't siloed in. Like I wasn't just like, oh, I'm only doing like paid media, like Google ads and Facebook ads, or I'm only doing the website. It was across the whole, the whole board. We were doing everything. And so having that as a foundation, which then allowed me to learn a lot of different areas of marketing and be able to put together a full picture of things, really helps when I'm talking to companies.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers. I'm your host, Joe Mallow. For today's episodes, excited to have Dan Fuerst. He is the owner of Briefcase Marketing in the Cleveland area. Dan, thanks for taking a little bit of time to spend it with me.
You're welcome, Joe.
Awesome. Wait, just to get us started, why don't you share with the audience a little bit about Briefcase Marketing?
Yeah. So Briefcase Marketing was founded because as I worked with business owners, specifically Catholic business owners, I saw there was a lot of room for improvement with their marketing. And what really prompted me to go ahead and like go out there and start this was because so much of the time their businesses, their nonprofits, their parishes, they do such good work. But the problem is people don't know that they do that good work because their marketing is lagging behind. And so what we try and do is we'll get in there, we'll talk to the business owner about their marketing strategy, who they're trying to reach, how they're trying to reach them, their messaging, their website, all of that. And then we build them a plan that typically will look like, like strategy, messaging, website, and then lead generation. And then from there, we build it out for each business as we go.
Okay, awesome. And what was I know you mentioned it a little bit, but maybe just to expand on it, what was the biggest inspiration for starting a business of your own?
Yeah. Well, as I got out of college, I was in the marketing space. And so, well, luckily I had a really good boss right out of college that had a great foundational knowledge of marketing. He was just able to articulate well what it is, what the goals are, how we should go about doing it. A lot of good frameworks that I learned and all sorts of things. And as we worked together, we worked in financial services for a Catholic credit union. And a lot of the time we were seeing business owners coming in, and again, nonprofits and all sorts of things. And as we helped them out, as we worked with them, we would just talk to each other and be like, oh, like this needs to be changed, or, oh, we would do this differently. And so that kind of was what put the seed there, was just seeing so many good businesses and good nonprofits, like I said, lagging behind in their marketing. And then from there, it was really just a matter of like trying to use like my God-given, talents and abilities and knowledge to go out and help people, and help people with their marketing. And it's obviously a slow roll, and I'm a small business, and just slowly, just trying to help people the best I can.
Yeah. Do you find, nonprofits and charitable organizations, is it the reason why their marketing or their website or whatever might not be that great is because they're spending the money elsewhere and they don't think that that's where they should be spending their money? I mean, what's the biggest reason why maybe they're a little bit behind
Yeah.
corporations and companies like that?
Well, so often I think with small to mid-sized businesses and nonprofits, their goal is to put out a good product or good service, and that's a great goal because that's what you have to get people to buy what you're selling, basically. And then there comes a point where you're kind of reaching the plateau. You're plateauing. You have good product, a good service, but then it's like, okay, where do we go from here? And so often the people inside those organizations have been really focused on like building that great product, but now the next step is getting that marketing in place. And some organizations have someone there that we work with, but obviously when the organizations that we're working with, they're working with us because they need help. And so often there's no one there to take the lead on like for nonprofits, for instance, that there's so much that they do. They're helping the people that they're helping, but at the same time, they're trying to get donations and they're trying to get volunteers. So it's really that three-headed thing for like nonprofits where, okay, how do we speak to all three of them with our messaging and our marketing? And that's like just one aspect of something we'll help out
Yeah.
those nonprofits with.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome that you're getting out there and you're helping those type of organizations for sure. So, what have been some of the biggest challenges or even struggles that you've had to overcome since starting your business?
So with running my business, it's been hard because I have a young family myself and I'm trying to balance all of my responsibilities without sacrificing, like missing my kids growing up. Um, and obviously, I don't know if you follow like Alex Hormozy or some of there's just like, like the business content creators online that are just like go super hard and just work all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that might make me money or might make you money, but in the end, like, what are you trying to make your money for? And it's to like live a good life and like spend time with family and friends and whatnot. And so I think the hardest part is trying to balance that and trying to balance, okay, like I have a lot of people asking me a lot of things, and how do I use my time well in order to, yeah, be able to structure it so I can like spend time with family. And then obviously there's just the technical challenges, but those are just for any business. Like there's nothing special about that.
Yeah.
Running any business is you have to overcome things that you don't know and learn those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the balance side of it's probably one of the hardest for business owners. Really, I think it's hard for anybody, whether you're in a business or you work for a corporation that demands so much of you as well. Um, it's not a 50-50 proposition. You
Yeah.
just have to find the right balance. I mean, have you been able to find the right balance, or are you still working on it?
I would say yes to the fact that I've been pretty good about spending like getting home at a good time and spending the evening with the kids, helping them get to bed and everything. And then if there's still work that needs to be done, that's where the late nights come in.
Yeah.
And that can still be stressful, because I'm married and like my wife and I, like we want to spend time together in the evenings after the kids go to bed. And I mean, some of that time does get eaten up by work
Yeah.
stuff. And that is what it is. And um, yeah, but overall, I would say it's pretty good right now.
Well, good. That's most people wouldn't say that. So probably including myself sometimes. My balance gets way out of whack. Um, so I guess another thing about the growth of your business, is there anything as you started your business and you've grown it, is there anything that you look back and say, hindsight 2020, I would have done this differently or that differently?
I think I would have been more intentional with seeking out people who have been there before and can help me avoid making mistakes. Now, a lot of the time you learn by doing things, and that's great, but it's also great to learn by seeing other people do things and then avoiding the issues that they run into. And so I think that would have saved me a lot of headache early on, even just for, yeah, like technical things like how do you set up your billing or your contracts, or like there's just a million different things that you have to do as a business owner.
Yeah.
And yeah, finding people who've done them before would have saved me a lot of time.
Yeah, sometimes it's just it's fail as you go.
Well,
You know,
and
you
that's great. That's a
make
great,
make a mistake, learn, make a mistake, learn. But
and I
but
think the
I'm
biggest
with
lesson,
you.
yeah, the biggest lesson to take away is just be biased towards action. Like you just have to do
Yeah.
things, and you have to put yourself out there. And have to have that initiative to go out and keep learning and keep growing and keep doing things. That's the biggest thing in the
Yeah.
end.
Do you now have a mentor or a group of peers that you reach out to for questions where you didn't have that maybe at the beginning? Do you have that now?
Yes, to an extent, I have a good group of like guys that I'll talk to. I'm in a small businessman's group that meets biweekly, and so that's been good. I'm still looking for like it'd be really fun to not fun. It would be fun, but it would be nice to talk to someone like in the same space as myself,
Yeah,
like a small business marketing like owner,
yeah,
because they would be going through a lot of the same issues that I would. But it's still good to have like other, like landscape owners or whatever. It's still good to talk to them.
yeah, yeah. I would agree. Sometimes it's nice to just bounce ideas. Have a I have a group of people that we all do this. We do something very similar that we can bounce ideas off of, especially if we're frustrated. So I think
Yeah.
that'd probably definitely be worthwhile for you. So what are your biggest motivators? What are the biggest things that keep you focused on continuing to grow your business?
I would say that the first is my family, supporting my family, and being able to offer them, what they need in order, so that way we take away like financial stress and yeah, yeah, basically support my family. But then also there's the fact that I really do enjoy marketing. There is a lot that I do that I really like doing. And then the great news is there's a lot of companies that I really like helping out there. And so it works really well together because I'm not like I don't wake up every day. I'm like, oh, I got to do this. It's more like I get to do this because I genuinely like to do this, and I like to help companies grow and talk about their messaging and like discuss their website and different things and whatever they
Yeah,
need. And so it works really well. Where yeah, I'm motivated to support my family and work hard, but I also like what I do.
yeah. Well, that makes all the difference in the world. I talk to a lot of people that don't like what they do, and they're doing it just because they have to do something to make money, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you enjoy it, you can be successful in a lot of different ways. So when you look at your industry and you're part of the marketing industry, what are the biggest changes you see happening?
Well, I wouldn't say like there's always going to be changes, and I suppose the one that's affecting me the most right now is like all the AI stuff, like ChatGPT or whatever else. It's allowed me to be much more efficient with what I'm doing, whether it's rewriting a contract for a different service, or having it review like the website page copy that I've written in the tone of like certain other copywriters, or putting in there like, oh, I need this Excel column to do this or this. Give me the equation to do it. Um, and so utilizing that, obviously AI has its limitations, and you can't just expect it to do everything. But for simple tasks like that, it really speeds up my workflow and allows me to be a lot more efficient with my time, which then goes back to what we were talking about with like time management, spending time with family. Um, Other than that, like a lot of the basics stay the same with marketing, being able to tell your story well and have a good product, and then put systems in place to be able to sell that. A lot of those stay the
Yeah.
same, but yeah, the tools that we have to use them are what's changing.
Okay. I guess on top of that, I mean, how do you separate yourself from other marketing companies that might be somewhat similar to you?
Yeah. So the first is who I'm targeting. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I target specifically Catholic business owners. And one, it's because I'm Catholic, and so that works out well. And then two, it's just a great way to differentiate myself from a lot of other, secular marketing agencies, whatever. It just allows that niche to happen well. And I think there's lots of good examples of, niching down like that. That's very common advice. And so that's the first way. And the second way is just to do good work and to be able to show that good work and show that people trust you. And so my experience working like for the financial institution was really good because that allowed us to operate almost as our own marketing agency while I worked there. We weren't siloed in. Like I wasn't just like, oh, I'm only doing like paid media, like Google ads and Facebook ads, or I'm only doing the website. It was across the whole, the whole board. We were doing everything. And so having that as a foundation, which then allowed me to learn a lot of different areas of marketing and be able to put together a full picture of things really helps when I'm talking to companies. Like for instance, I was just talking to a school that's kind of transitioning what they're doing, but they don't even have a lot of marketing right now. And so when we were talking, I was like, okay, to get you off the ground, let's build out a messaging framework. Let's build a website. Let's get some photography. Let's get a good like video, promotional video we can put out there. And just being able to have knowledge of all of those, like the foundations and the basics, is a big sell versus just being like, okay, I only do like website design
Right.
and like, okay, go ahead, write it all. Here's this blank Google Doc, write it up and then send it to me and I can design it. Instead of that, it's like we can handle everything. We know what we're doing. And I say we because I use like subcontractors, for
Right.
various things. But yeah, so those are really the two: being able to have my niche and then being able to do a good work and do it well and know how to put together a good like marketing plan.
Yeah. I find sometimes that business owners they're scared to niche down because they think they're leaving something on the table. And then, I mean, do you find that people like that they're not experts in really anything? They're just, I mean, they might be good, but they're not really experts in any area.
Um, yes and no. I would say that I'm very good at a lot of what I do, but there's people better than me. And so, while my target audience might be a niche, and what we offer isn't so much of a niche. Like I said, we
Yeah.
offer a lot of things,
Right.
but the key is there. Like for instance, for like, so we do the messaging framework, we copyright, we do the website, but then I'll use a subcontractor to design the website. And then while I can go ahead and make edits for the client and whatnot, like he's better than me at making websites. And so because I want to provide people with like literally the best that we can, like that's who I'll pay to make a website because he can do it better than me. So
Yeah.
yeah, niching down on the audience, but not as much of what we can. Like our capabilities are pretty wide at this point.
Yeah, you're finding, it's almost like building a home. Not everybody does everything when they build the home. You're finding the best people to do each individual part of it, and
Yes, yeah,
I think,
exactly.
I think that's great. So what's the most challenging part of your industry and what you're doing?
Client expectations. As any small business owner knows, there's a lot of scope creep with a lot of projects. And there's a lot of crazy emails that'll come in that you're like, what is happening? Like, I don't understand. um, and so it can be very difficult because even if you put very clearly in your contract, what you're offering, there's still gray area. And you never
Right.
want to just like, burn any bridges or just like, make people angry. And so sometimes you just got to eat it and just do it. But that scope creep can definitely be difficult. Yeah, just because there can be a lot there. And I mean, learning to say no with that type of stuff is important, but also having like the prudence to be able to, discern like, okay, like this
Yeah.
is, I can help out with this.
Yeah.
That's important too.
Yeah, I think I get that too a lot. I think a lot of people probably get that, client expectations. So where do you see either your business or where do you see your industry in the next 1 to 3 years? Either one.
Yeah. My business specifically, so I'm the owner of the business, and like I said, I use subcontractors, but I currently don't have any employees. But I would love to, in 3 years, be able to hire maybe one or two other employees who are really good at what they do and can, one, help take some of the responsibilities off of myself. Again, just so I can keep my, work-life balance, but then also allow them to do the really good work that they can do. So whether that's hiring a full-time website designer or a brand strategist, or branching out and offering more like integrated CRMs for schools, or whatever that is, because right now we don't really do like the CRM stuff too much, but like
Right.
maybe branching out and doing that. So yeah, in like 3 years, that would be the goal. Get a few people full-time on staff, and just keep growing, and in the end just keep doing really good work for clients. That's all I'm trying to do.
Awesome. Last two questions, and then I'll let you go. What's the best business advice anybody's ever given you?
So I would say any and all business you have to sell, just as a small business owner. And I mean, okay, selling might look like different, it looks different for everyone. If you're a doctor, you're not really selling. The selling is, okay, I broke my arm. That sells people pretty quickly. But to take that as an application to other business, you're selling the pain. You're selling the pain point. You're selling what keeps people up at night. And so being able to properly articulate what you offer that can allow people to sleep better at night, basically, and solve that pain point for them is going to be key, for any business owner.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people, when they're putting that message out there, they don't put it out there properly. They're not really selling the pain. So that's why we need people like you to help us with that.
Exactly.
Final question. Let's say you ran into somebody who is a couple years into business. They're struggling. They're stressed. What kind of advice would you give them?
Pray about it. I mean, obviously, I would actually say pray about it. But then from looking at the business side, I mean, there's so much with business. You can look at so many different aspects, whether it's your operations or your marketing or your sales team, and it depends on each company. But in the end, I would say don't be afraid to move on. I forget the exact quote, but like, craziness is doing the same thing over and over, then it's not working. And so don't be afraid to move on to the next thing with, taking the time to consider it and be able to say, okay, maybe this is not working. Maybe I should pivot to a different business or go back to the workforce full time, as just a W-2 employee. So just being open to options, not just banging your head against the wall over and over.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Yeah, listen, I really appreciate you taking time out to spend it with me in my interview series. If anybody out there listening wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do it?
They can visit my website. It's briefcase.marketing, or they can email me, dan@briefcase.marketing.
Okay, perfect. Well, like I said, was very excited to have you on. I'm glad we had a chance to talk. I'm glad I got a chance to learn a little bit more about your business. And for those out there that are listening, appreciate you listening to another episode of Mastering the Numbers. Before we end, just a quick shout out to my team for making these podcasts happen. Alyssa and Lisa at Check Off Your List in Columbus, Ohio. So thank you for making these look good for me. Once again, everybody out there, thank you. Dan, thank you again. And we'll catch everybody on the next episode of Mastering the Numbers. Take care. You've just tuned into another episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you found valuable insight to boost your financial success. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Keep pushing forward, and thanks for listening.